Hi, welcome to Book Nook. I'm Mary Kay Bond. I'm the Executive Director of Read Aloud West Virginia, and I'm delighted to be here today to share a lot of good stories with you and your family. The first one I want to share is a story called Scaredy Squirrel. I don't know about you, but there are things I am afraid of, but there are a lot of things Scaredy Squirrel is afraid of. He's almost too much afraid. Let's start the story of Scaredy Squirrel. Scaredy Squirrel never leaves his nut tree. He'd rather stay in his safe and familiar tree than risk venturing out into the unknown. The unknown can be a scaredy place for a squirrel. See, he thinks the whole world outside of his nut tree is the unknown and is frightening. A few things Scaredy Squirrel is afraid of: tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians. Do you really think there are green Martians? Killer bees, germs, and sharks. So he's perfectly happy to stay right where he is. Here are the advantages of never leaving the nut tree. Great view, plenty of nuts, a safe place, and no tarantulas, poison ivy, Martians, killer bees, germs, or sharks. Here are the disadvantages of never leaving the nut tree. He has the same old view, the same old nuts, and the same old place. It sounds kind of boring, doesn't it? In Scaredy Squirrel's nut tree, every day is the same. Everything is predictable. All is under control. Monday, there he is. Tuesday, there he is. Wednesday, there he is in the nut tree. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He doesn't seem to want to try anything different, does he? I think he'd be bored. Here's what Scaredy Squirrel's daily routine looked like. At 6:45, he wakes up. At 7 o'clock, he eats a nut. At 7:15, he looks at a view. At noon, he eats another nut. And at 12:30, he looks at his beautiful view again. At 5 o'clock, he eats a nut. That's his dinner. 5:31, he looks at his view. And at 8 o'clock, he goes to sleep. But let's say, just for example, something unexpected did happen. You can rest assured this squirrel is prepared. It looks like he has a kit. Here are a few items in Scaredy Squirrel's emergency kit: parachute, bug spray, mask and rubber gloves, hard hat, antibacterial soap, calamine lotion, net, Band-Aid, and sardines. What to do in case of an emergency according to Scaredy Squirrel? Step 1, panic. I don't think that sounds like a very good idea. Step 2, run. Step 3, get kit. Step 4, put on kit. Step 5, consult exit plan. Step 6, exit tree if there is absolutely, definitely, truly no other option. Now, Scaredy apparently has written out an exit plan, which is top secret, but I'm going to read it to you. Exit 1, note to self: watch out for green Martians and killer bees in the sky. Exit 2, note to self: do not land in river. If unavoidable, use sardines to distract the sharks. Exit 3, note to self: look out for poison ivy and for tarantulas roaming in the ground. And exit 4, note to self: keep in mind that germs are everywhere. And down here he says, remember, if all else fails, playing dead is always a good option. With his emergency kit in hand, Scaredy Squirrel watches day after day. He watches until one day, 9:37 a.m., he sees, what do you think he sees? Killer bees. Or Maybe they're just plain bees. Maybe they aren't killer bees. But he's Scaredy Squirrel, so he thinks they're killer bees. Scaredy Squirrel jumps in a panic, knocking his emergency kit out of the tree. That was not part of the plan. Scaredy Squirrel jumps to catch his kit. He quickly regrets his idea. The parachute is in the kit. But something incredible happens. Look, he starts to glide. Scaredy Squirrel is no ordinary squirrel. He's a flying squirrel. And he didn't know it. Scaredy Squirrel forgets all about the killer bees, not to mention the tarantula, poison ivy, green Martians, germs, and sharks. He feels overjoyed. He's adventurous. He's carefree. He's alive. He is happy until he lands in a bush. Then he plays dead. 30 minutes later, he's still playing dead. An hour later, still playing dead. 2 hours later, same thing. Finally, Scaredy Squirrel realizes that nothing horrible is happening in the unknown today. So he returns to his tree. All this excitement has inspired Scaredy Squirrel to make drastic changes in his life. Scaredy Squirrel has a new and improved daily routine. He still wakes up at 6:45, and at 7 o'clock he eats a nut. At 7:15 he looks at the view, and at 9:37 he jumps into the unknown. At 9:45 he returns home. He eats a nut at noon. He looks at the view. 5 o'clock he eats another nut and looks at the view, and then he goes to sleep. Well, at least he's trying something new now, right? P.S. As for the emergency kit, Scaredy Squirrel is in no hurry to pick it up just yet. Look where that kit landed. In poison ivy. I hope Scaredy Squirrel will start to try other new things too. You need to be safe, but you also need to try new things. All right, my next book is called The Magic Hat, and it's by Mem Fox. She's written a lot of good books, and this is a fantastic story about a magical hat. One fine day, from out of town and without any warning at all, there appeared a magic hat. Oh, the magic hat, the magic hat. It moved like this, it moved like that. It spun through the air and over a road and sat on the head of a warty old toad. That man turned into a toad. Oh, the magic hat, the magic hat. It moved like this, it moved like that. It spun through the air like a bouncing balloon and sat on the head. I think it's going to land there, doesn't it look like that? On the head of a hairy baboon. The man turned into a baboon. Oh, the magic hat, the magic hat. It moved like this, it moved like that. It spun through the air from way over there and sat on the head of a sleepy old Wait a second. I think bear! Oh, the magic hat, the magic hat. It moved like this, it moved like that. It spun through the air, it's true, and sat on the head of a... Now, what is she going to turn into? Kangaroo! Oh, the magic hat. The magic hat, it moved like this, it moved like that. It spun through the air for 1.5 miles, and it sat on the head of a lofty giraffe. And then, with a skip, And then, with a hop, a wizard appeared with a sign that said stop. Look at all those animals looking at the wizard. So everyone stopped and stared in surprise at the wonderful wizard with sparkling eyes, who took from his beard with a nod and a wink a wand which he waved. And what do you think? I wonder what's going to happen when he waves that wand. The toad, the baboon, the bear, and the roo, and of course the giraffe, oh, what a to-do, turned back into people, dazed and confused, watched by a crowd that was highly amused. While no one was looking, the wizard, meanwhile, skipped out of town with a mischievous smile. And of course on his head was that fabulous hat. That made all the magic wherever it sat. That would be a pretty exciting hat to have. What I'd like to read to you next is called A Pig Parade is a Terrible Idea. I have to admit I hadn't thought about a pig parade until I found this book at the library. But when you read this book, you realize he's right. A pig parade is a terrible idea. This book is by Michael Ian Black. Like most children, you have probably thought to yourself at one time or another, I bet a big pig parade would be a lot of fun. And yes, a big pig parade certainly sounds like fun. It's even fun to say. Go ahead, say pig parade a couple of times. Pig parade, pig parade, pig parade. It is kind of fun, isn't it? That's fun, right? After all, what could be more fun than gathering a few hundred pigs together for a grand parade and then watching them proudly march together in perfect formation down the finest boulevard in your town? The only problem is that is a terrible idea. Can you see this pig eating corn? For one thing, pigs hate to march. They prefer to snuffle, which is kind of like walking with your nose. Snuffling is fine when trying to find leftover apple skins and acorns around the barnyard. But snuffling is simply an inappropriate way to conduct yourself along a parade route. They sound kind of like this when they do that. They're smelling and walking. But that's just one of the reasons why a pig parade is a terrible idea. Also, pigs absolutely refuse to wear majorette costumes. Even if you're able to find a majorette uniform for all your pigs, which is a very difficult job in and of itself, just try getting those hundreds of pigs to put them on. Hadn't thought of it. That'd be tough. They will not do it. Perhaps they consider majorette uniforms unflattering. Nonsense! Everybody looks sharp in a majorette uniform. Even pigs. Especially pigs. But when you try explaining that to them, they just look at you as if you're speaking a language they do not understand. Again, a pig parade is a terrible idea. You cannot have a parade without floats, right? Well, forget it. Pigs don't care about floats. Pigs don't care about all the time and energy you spent creating a Three Little Pigs float or a Wilbur the Pig from Charlotte's Web float. In fact, the only floats pigs care about are root beer floats, which they love. Have you ever had a root beer float? And then there is the problem of music. Pigs have a horrible taste in music. If you give a group of pigs marching band instruments to play, do you think they will play good-spirited marching band music? No, they will not. They will play sad, sad country music ballads with titles like "My Tears Are Wet 'Cause My Mud's Gone Dry" and "I Just Want to Plop Down into This Bucket of Slop." That kind of music is fine for slow dancing at hoedowns, but it is not appropriate for a parade. Face it, a pig parade is a terrible idea. Finally, there are giant balloons to consider. Everybody knows that giant balloons are the best part of any parade. Well, who do you think is going to hold all those balloons to keep them from flying away? The pigs, right? Wrong! Even if pigs wanted to hold the balloons instead of finding filthy puddles on the street to lie in, they couldn't do it. Because while pig hooves are good for digging up wild mushrooms, when it comes to holding a giant parade balloon, they are simply not up to the job. And what happens when those balloons go unattended? They bump into buildings or simply drift off into outer space, which would be fine if you had Martians, but awful for those of us trying to enjoy a big parade here on Earth. So when you consider the constant snuffling, the refusal to wear majorette uniforms, the disinterest in pig-themed literary floats, pigs' preferences for weepy country ballads, and their utter lack of discipline regarding proper balloon handling, it should be absolutely, completely, and totally clear that a pig parade is a terrible idea. A panda parade, on the other hand, that would be fantastic. Do you think so? Can you imagine a parade with nothing but pandas in it? My next book has a pig in it also. You may know about this particular pig. He has a friend who's an elephant. And this is a book called We Are in a Book. Thank you. Look, Elephant is going, what? Why did Piggy say thank you? Piggy? Yes, Gerald? I think someone is looking at us. Look at their eyes. They're wondering, is someone looking at them? Are you looking at them? I'm looking at them. Someone is looking at us. Who is looking at us? A monster? No, it is a reader. A reader is reading us. How is the reader reading us? The reader is reading these word bubbles. We are in a book. We are in a book. That is so cool. He really yelled that out. We are in a book. We are in a book. We are being read. We are being read. Oh, I have a good idea. I can make the reader say a word. You can make the reader say a word. I can, if the reader reads out loud. Well, we are reading this out loud, aren't we? That is a good idea. That is a funny idea. Here I go. Banana. Did you hear that? The reader said banana. Oh, the reader said it again. want to turn before the book ends? Ends? The book ends? Yes, all books end. When will the book end? I will look. Page 57. Page 57? It is page 46 now. And it is. Eek! Now it is page 47. This book is going too fast. I have more to give. More words, more jokes, more bananas. I just want to be read. I have a good idea. That is a good idea. Hello. Will you please read us again? I hope this works. Me too. Well, I don't know about you, but I'd love to read about Elephant and Piggy again. But I have some other Piggy books, and so maybe you can go to the library and you can borrow We Are in a Book, and you can read Elephant and Piggy again. Now, we've talked about pigs, but these next little pigs I'm talking about are the piggies that we talk about when we talk about our fingers or our toes. Like if you put on a glove and you put your piggies in each little different finger, those are your piggies. Or my daughter used to have socks where she could put her toes in a separate little compartment. And we talked about her piggy toes and putting those piggies in the barn. Those are the piggies that I'm going to be reading about now. So you may want to take your socks off, or you may want to put your hands out and read this along with me. This is called This Little Piggy by Tim Harrington. This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy had roast beef, but this little piggy had none. This little piggy went wee, 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 all the way home. That's your little baby piggy, isn't it? But on the other foot, what's happening to those piggies on your other foot? Well, this little piggy dug dancing, and this little piggy flew planes, and this little piggy sold hot dogs. This little piggy loved paints, and this little piggy built a spaceship and flew to outer space, where he found a planet of green jelly creatures that taught him how to eat Martian marshmallows and play gravity tag and catch asteroid beetles. He started a successful robot repair shop, and on days off, he rode the solar slides. Wee, 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 all the way down. It's pretty exciting. All those crazy piggies made the market visiting, roast beef enjoying, wee-wee-weeing piggies want to do some more fun stuff. So this little piggy had a costume party, and this little piggy chewed gum. This little piggy raced ghost carts, and this little piggy played drums. This little piggy was secretly Toe, the world's greatest hero. Faster than a race car, he could blow out birthday candles from a mile away and fly high above the clouds. Once he saved a leaky tugboat with a super bubble, and when a giant smelly sock attacked the city, Super Toe used tickle power to send him tee all the way home. Which is why now all the little piggies are just totally tired out and really want a good night's sleep. So this little piggy's all dozy. This little piggy gets clean. This little piggy goes all the way to sleep. So did you put your piggy toes to sleep? These piggies are referring to the piggies on our hands, like the ones I showed you when I put in the glove. And it's a book by Audrey and Dawn Wood. And it's called Just Piggies. I've got 2 fat little piggies. You see the fat little piggies? 2 smart little piggies. 2 long little piggies. So here are the fat, here are the smart, and here's the long little piggy. 2 silly little piggies. And 2 wee little piggies. Kind of like those piggies that went wee, 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 all the way home. Sometimes they're hot. Look, he looks like he's got a cactus on and he's got an umbrella. They're going swimming. And sometimes they're cold, like it is when the snow comes, right? And they're dressed for snow. Sometimes they're clean little piggies. Look at all those bubbles. I bet when you take your piggies into the bath, they get clean. And sometimes they're dirty little piggies. It looks like somebody took those piggies out into the mud. Sometimes they're good little piggies, but not at bedtime. That's when they skip down to my tummy and dance on my toes. They run away and hide. So I put them together all in a row. 2 fat kisses, 2 smart kisses, 2 long kisses, 2 silly kisses, and 2 wee kisses. Good night. I think that's all that we have time for in this program, but I certainly hope you've enjoyed listening to all of these books as much as I've enjoyed reading them to you. And I hope you will go visit the library with your family to find these books and other books about pigs and magic hats and squirrels and other subjects that you're interested in. It's a wonderful family outing. You can learn about many different places and many different things by reading books, and I think you'll have a great time if you make sure that you go to the library on a regular basis. Today we've read about Scaredy Squirrel, who was afraid to go out of his tree. But when he did, he found that he kind of enjoyed it. About the magic hat that turned people into animals. We've read about why it's not a good idea to put pigs in a parade. And we read about Elephant and Piggy being in a book. The last 2 books talked about our piggy toes and our piggy fingers. I hope you will look for these books and others when your family visits the library next time. Thanks for joining us. I look forward to seeing you again.